Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm the managing editor of APC Media, or APC Technology Productions, Transformer Technology, Power Systems Technology. We are here at the RE Plus 2023 event in Las Vegas. This thing is huge. It seems like the battery storage people have come here. So we've got wind, solar, battery storage, and everything in between. But hope you enjoy these interviews. I love interviewing the technology of the future, and enjoy. My next guest is Jim Brown, the Jim Brown, who is the senior manager of energy storage systems for LG, a company I love. You pretty much outfitted your company has outfitted most of my house.
Thank you for that.
Jim, thank you for joining me. Give me a little bit about your personal history, your background. When did you come in the industry? Let me know a little bit about you.
Sure, thank you, and I appreciate it. Been in solar 14 years. Been an interesting journey, and I started in manufacturing.
Okay.
Just a terrific exposure to the industry. I actually worked for a machine company, a Swiss machine company. We designed, engineered, and manufactured the machines that would interconnect solar cells to make a string. Yeah. Strings make a solar module. Yeah. It was a fantastic entry to the space, but it was on upstream manufacturing. Traveled a lot around the globe, had some key account management roles with this machine manufacturer in a variety of solar, well-known names, solar manufacturing facilities. That was my entrance. The globe trot got a little tiring, so I moved over to the DG side of the business, and I've been on the side of B2B, in both commercial and the residential market spaces in solar modules. But that started 14 years ago. And it's only just a year ago that I entered this residential energy storage space, leaving that module space behind. So very exciting industry, very exciting market space now, especially in energy storage.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a hypothesis, and then I'm going to then say, talk to me about the journey of solar. Okay, I want you to talk about not so much the manufacturing part of it, but about where we were when you started, where we are today, where we're going. But there's an interesting inflection point that's happened at this event. RE Plus last year was about 15,000 people. There are 30,000 people here. Storage has become a big story. The entire second floor seems like it's storage. But to me, that inflection point is we're now beyond when you can put wind or solar and you can combine it with energy storage from the residential level to the utility scale. That's the game changer that we've all been waiting for. And I think there's still some, control issues, and there's some automation issues and stuff we got to work out. But when you can do that, you've suddenly said, hey, we've arrived. We can change the way the grid operates. Now utilities are going to go, okay, how do we make this happen? So I think we're at a point here, and I want you to comment on that. But go back to when you first got into solar. It wasn't what it is today.
No doubt.
Government money, subsidies, those things were trying to drive it, but we really didn't have a foothold in the marketplace. Talk a little bit about the market back then, and if you will, the genesis of where it is today.
Sure, I'd be very happy to. No doubt there's policy and incentive that inspires many industries, really. All of us that have been in solar for any period of time recognize that policy and incentives are an important part of the journey, but I love to look at the market and the industry evolution from a technology standpoint. Where solar was when I got into it, we were in 300 watt modules.
Yeah.
And where we are today,
300 watt modules.
300 watt modules.
Yeah.
And where we are today is, it's an amazing evolution of the technology to increase that energy density for rooftop and even ground applications. And then beyond that, you think about the homeowner journey in energy. We all pay our electric bill. We all want to manage that electric bill because we have no control over the rates.
Right.
And so getting more solar on the roof has been part of the technology journey,
right.
Energy density, if you will. But equally important is the aesthetics of solar. People's homes, it's really their most precious possession. And so making solar attractive, both aesthetically and economically, has been a huge part of this journey in the solar space. Coming from my module background, cents per watt was always a conversation as a manufacturer and the B2B business. But to the homeowner, It's about, what are you going to do for my electric bill? You know, you're creating this little power plant on their roof, and they're very concerned about, how much are we going to be able to get rid of?
Yeah.
How much of that bill can I get rid of by generating my own electricity? So that journey of increasing power density on the roof has really enabled homeowners to really establish some significant energy independence. I love it.
Yeah, and then storage changes that whole equation even further, because I could produce it when I need it, but now that I can store it, and I think that's becoming, we did a story with Chris Root from Vermont Electric, and I think it was a different company, but they actually bought as a prototype a bunch of cells, right? Battery cells. Okay. They owned them, and they would, let them charge up, and then when they needed the power, they could bring the power down. And it allowed Vermont, which you don't think of as having wind and solar, they have a lot going. They're 52% relying on renewables. It's Vermont, for goodness sake. And ESS played a big role in that. So let's assume that we've crossed the Rubicons for solar. We're now at a point where dollars per megawatt or gigawatt, now we're at terawatt, is now, and we don't need government subsidies anymore. Thank you, government, it was helpful. Sure. But we now are on our own. Now with storage, it changes everything. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, agreed. The whole subject of grid parity is in the rearview mirror. There's no doubt. Solar has come that far from a generation standpoint and energy density standpoint. So you mentioned Vermont, and I know we'll get to this in a moment, but the enablement of utility flexibility and meeting consumer demand has really opened up a whole new frontier because of energy storage. I like to think of solar on the roof as energy security. I can generate juice during the day when the sun's shining. Energy storage, though, is like insurance. Grid goes down, I have some energy that I can use as my insurance. So the battery space, and I know the generic term is batteries, I like to refer to it as energy storage because it really is. We are storing that energy, but how we use that stored energy has evolved so rapidly, so recently, and that's why, as you mentioned, the second floor, Alan, everywhere you go up there, there's a storage solution. So
what do you mean by how we use it has changed dramatically? Because I didn't think we changed how we use it, but obviously we have.
In my short experience with LG Electronics for the last 12 months, absolutely has changed dramatically. You think of energy security as, if the grid goes down, I'll have electricity. Yeah. But what's happening now so quickly is managing peak demand. During times, specifically June to September, generally late afternoon, 3 to 7 p.m., this is the time when utilities are stressed the most during those peak periods. And so deploying the energy storage behind the meter enables utilities to tap into a resource that's just sitting there. Well, the grid's up and running. It's normal. Everything's normal. And homeowners have bought into that energy storage for their own energy insurance if the grid goes down. But in terms of economics, what's really evolved so quickly is this subject of virtual power plants. Virtual power plant behind the meter. All this battery energy is just sitting there. So utilities now are enabling homeowners to dispatch that energy during peak periods and be incentivized for doing so. It improves the economics of battery storage substantially over time for homeowners to add energy storage to their solar, or if they're going solar, include an energy storage solution with it.
One of the problems with the rooftop solar is there has been, and the research points this out, we have had a lot of installers that were really not quality. My son in Los Angeles installed it, right? And has had 2 different contractors come out to say, nah, this was installed wrong. Nah, this was done wrong. That's kind of where the industry has been, what I would call jackleg contractors. Now, I know things are changing in order to say, no. But when you add solar and storage, it is the connectivity and how all that works. Most homeowners just want it to work. I want to see one thing. I want to see my bill go up or down. Please don't ask me to look at 4 different things to see what's happening with my data, right? They're not data scientists. They're just homeowners.
Sure.
Talk about that, how storage either affects it or how, because you guys are not a company that doesn't think about the problems to solve them for your customers, especially you've done that, right?
Fair comment. I agree. Not all homeowners are created equal. Not all of them want or even enjoy the complexity of some of the solutions. Granted, although we've evolved so quickly in the energy storage space, when you combine solar and storage and all of the hardware accessories, if you will, particularly when the grid is down and we need, in some cases, to manage the load burden, to then subsequently manage the energy storage longevity or performance during that event, there are some very smart solutions. Everyone has budgets these days, and so you have to consider the economics of some of the very complex integrated solutions. So it's not a perfectly solved problem yet. It's not perfectly solved. You mentioned the company, so LG Electronics does have visibility into all things LG through the LG ThinQ app, but it's still not a fully integrated solution for a homeowner to seamlessly manage everything. I know the industry is going to get there. And when you add in another form of storage in a home these days, an EV, there's the V2X, vehicle to grid, vehicle to home, maybe ESS battery to vehicle, maybe vehicle to battery. There's so much involved. It is evolving rapidly, and I think at some point there will be a solution that is seamlessly integrated. I can't speak to the economics. I don't know what it'll take to get there, but I do believe it's on the horizon. Technology is advancing so rapidly these days, but for now, what I believe is most important, and honestly for the near future, homeowners want a system, solar and energy storage, that works as described, meets their needs in the time of need, and doesn't give them any surprises. They want peace of mind and comfort until the grid comes back.
And a company, the brand LG, would give, if I were looking at it, it would give me confidence that what you bring, because that's what the customer needs. That's in order to make the next critical leap is, number one, we have to make it look nice, right? My wife wouldn't let us put solar on our roof but my son did, right? Because he's in that generation. But it has to look good, and it has to simplify the functionality of it so that we're not scientists having to look at all the type of monitors. But talk just finally a little bit about what LG is talking about here at this event.
Sure. For sure. Our exhibit upstairs is sort of reintroducing this energy storage system, not just a battery. Right. It's a system. The connectivity, the electrical wiring, the intelligence of how to operate and when to operate, and of course the inverter, the battery modules themselves. So that's what we're talking about today and tomorrow, the rest of RE Plus upstairs. But there is also a larger conversation at play. LG being other things, LG Electronics being home entertainment, home appliance, air care, high efficiency, called HVAC, heat pumps and hot water and these kinds of things. There's a whole conversation around the integration of all of these things to create an LG home life ecosystem backed by the energy storage system, energy insurance, and energy independence. So that conversation is active as we speak as well. And we're already talking about what next year's RE Plus exhibit might look like beyond just the LG Homemade ESS residential energy storage system. We're planning on expanding how that looks to homeowners, and especially for this show to installers and our colleagues who are looking to expand that home electrification journey and the comfort that can go with it.
Right, that's excellent. Jim, excellent interview. Thank you so
Alan.
much. You
yeah,
covered a lot
my
of topics
pleasure.
in a short period of time.
Thank you very much.